Eventually, we found our way back to the new estate. As it was very early in the morning, as I thought it would be, everyone had basically gone to bed. Or at least I think they were. The mansion seemed fairly quiet, so I doubted that anyone was up. But I felt like waiting up for Titan to show, and Emily decided to join me. Stay up and wait together. She actually took it within thought to ask for a map of the estate and what was in it so that she could pick a nice room for herself. And while she was flipping through, she noted that this mansion had a wine cellar and took it upon herself to relieve a few bottles of wine from the collection. Eventually, Titan did arrive on an air transport, at which point we wheeled her into the garage, which was exceptionally spacious and had enough room for more than a dozen cars. And as Titan got there and we re-established our connection, she was of course worried sick, wondering why I was out of communications range so long. So I filled her in on the entire story. My mother, father, and brother, Lilith, Alexander, everything. Just having a nice little chat, me, Titan, and Emily, as me and Emily polished off yet another bottle of wine, eventually beginning to talk over our future plans with how to deal with it. Eventually, me and Emily found ourselves on the ground, leaning against Titan, the only vehicle parked there in the garage, just talking. Emily took a long drink from the wine bottle that we were currently sipping through. She had collected 3 of them, and we had already worked our way through 2 and were down to the last one. Over the years, we had built up a fairly high tolerance for alcohol, but 3 bottles was more than enough to do the trick. So we were, well, pretty inebriated. As she handed the bottle over to me, she suddenly had an unusual expression. It seemed somewhat focused, with just a touch of anxious behind it. Jax, I'm sorry, Gabriel, I keep on doing that, she said, correcting herself. There's no need for that, Em. Just call me Jax. My family will just have to get used to it. I mean, really, I've actually gone by Jax for longer than I've gone by Gabriel. Technically, Jax is more my name than my original name is, which is really messed up when you think about it, I said, before taking a swig of the bottle. Well, Jax, there's something I wanted to talk to you about, Emily said, as she pulled her knees in close, staring over them down at the floor. Yeah? What is it? I asked, looking over at her, feeling a bit curious as to what she was getting at. We spent all that time out there in the Yellow District. Every single day was just a fight, a struggle to just survive. Do you know what I was really afraid of? Emily said, still staring down at the floor a bit. Still that look of focus, seriousness. Afraid? Honestly, Em, I didn't really get the feeling you were afraid of anything. I've seen you walk into 100 death-defying deals, and fear wasn't exactly what I would say you were experiencing. No, it wasn't that, Emily replied. I could deal with the drug-addled lunatics, the gangs, the guns, the gunfights, the crooked deals and backstabbing. Honestly, I could deal with it all. It actually feels normal to me at this point. It's this place that actually kind of scares me now. I mean, what's my life gonna be like now? I've spent my whole life looking over my shoulder, wondering if today was gonna be the day. If this was gonna be my last one. The day some lunatic caught me with a stray bullet. The day I was blown to kingdom come. The day I died. Just like my parents died. In the moment, my smile quickly faded away as I looked over to Emily, still staring at the floor, dead serious. I could tell that she meant everything she was saying. Drunk or not, maybe the drinks were actually helping her get over whatever nervousness she had about talking about it. But I did my best to focus up. If this was important enough for Emily to really get serious, then I didn't want to just make a joke of it. What really scared me while I was out there was actually living. Not living in the sense of just breathing and having a pulse. What really scared me was trying to live a life. There are so many horror stories about people who tried to just live a happy life and ended up, well, dead, having family and loved ones. In the Yellow District, it's all just a weakness, something to be held over you because everyone's out to get you. So I pushed everything away. I never gave any consideration at all to having a real life, to trying to feel happy about something other than my next paycheck, the next big score. And the problem is, now I'm in a safer place, or at least it should be. Once we deal with Alexander, there won't be any more looking over my shoulder, no one out to get me. So the question is, will I be able to stop? Honestly, the answer to that question scares me a bit. I'm scared of whether I can stop being scared, if I can ever just let it go. What happens if, regardless of how safe it is, I'm still too afraid? Afraid to get married or have kids, start a family, or live any sort of regular life? What if I can never do it? What if, deep down, I'm just scared of it? Too scared to ever try. So scared of being alone in the future, of having something and losing it, that I never try to gain anything in the first place. I quietly looked over at Emily for a few moments, seeing if there was anything else she was going to add. And after I was certain that she was done, I put my arm over her shoulder and pulled her in a little bit closer, laid my cheek against the top of her head. "Don't be stupid," I replied. "You are never gonna be alone. Come hell or high water, I'm gonna be there, okay? And if you're too scared to start a new life, don't worry, I'll be there to shake sense into you. You're far too important for me. You've been far too important to my life for me to ever consider letting you spend the rest of your life stewing alone. One day you're gonna be happy, Emily. If I have anything to say about it as soon as possible. If you want a husband and kids, then you're gonna have them. If you want a white picket fence, consider it done. I just hope your husband is okay with dealing with your right hook," I said, chuckling just a bit, as I found myself drifting off a bit. Apparently, Emily did as well, as we fell asleep right there on the floor of the garage, leaning against Titan, who we completely forgot was overhearing that entire discussion. We were a bit too hammered to think about it. We just closed our eyes and drunkenly drifted off to sleep, sitting in a massive empty garage. And I don't know about Emily, But I definitely had a smile on my face, because even with Alexander threatening us, the number of maniacs we had to deal with had been decreased down to 1. As far as I'm concerned, that might as well be the moment before we tear through the tape at the finish line. Just one more obstacle, and we can have peace, the kind that we always dreamed about having.